Today's quick question, by the way, comes from the Reddit community out there. If you're on Reddit, if you're on the fantasy football channels, you know that we lurk. We're lurkers. We see what you're talking about. We listen. We've done some. We did an AMA on there, and I like checking in with the Redditors. So what we did this time is we posted and asked for a quick question, and whatever got voted the highest is the quick question of the day. So here you go. Who is the player that will be on most championship-winning teams? This is a fun thing to look at the end of every season. Alvin Kamara had a big role last year in championships.
Yep.
So,
Todd Gurley.
Yeah, Todd Gurley was decent. Yeah, kind of decent. Who is the player that you think will be on the most championship-winning teams this year? We're heading into Week 11. That's 6 weeks left.
Yeah, usually the most common are later drafted running backs who pop and hit hard. This guy wasn't super late. I mean, he was early. He was, but he was back of the first, maybe fell to the second in some leagues. But when I'm just looking at, all of the, different variables coming together at the same time, it's Christian McCaffrey. He is the clear-cut workhorse back. He's been excellent this year. Half-point format, he's the running back 7 on the season. I believe he's got 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. They got rid of C.J. Anderson. And his playoff schedule is –
Juicy.
I mean, we've talked about it with Cam. You could put Cam in this conversation too because –
This conversation?
No,
What?
I like it.
No.
What?
I'm not. I told you guys before the show, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I would expect more of the same.
So here's the playoff schedule starting Week 13. Week 13, the Panthers play Tampa Bay, who Christian McCaffrey just torched, then Cleveland, then the Saints, that's going to be a high-scoring game, and Atlanta in championship week.
Oh, my.
So, he's been a target in a couple different leagues. I've not been able to acquire him, but
I have no doubt that I'll be facing him in fantasy playoffs because I've faced him like 4 times this year already, and it's not fun. He's very good. I'm actually going to, maybe not the name you'd expect, but I'm going to throw Odell Beckham Jr.'s name out there as the name I think will be on a lot of fantasy championship rosters, mostly because if you bought him lower because of the way the offense was performing, he's been great. From Week 5 on, he's the number 3 overall fantasy wide receiver. He's scoring. They're force-feeding him. And Odell Beckham Jr. is everything you hoped he would be, despite the offense. And I think it continues. They have a very juicy playoff schedule as well, some opportunities there. And I don't have to worry about whether they're going to bench guys because they're making the playoffs.
Yeah, I believe they play the Colts in the championship week, so that's
Yeah.
a very nice thing to hear.
And for me, it's James Conner. He fell into the laps of nearly everyone who had him. I know some people traded for him, but I would say the majority of fantasy players scooped him right up off of the waiver wire, which means it's legitimately possible that you have Melvin Gordon, Christian McCaffrey, and James Conner all on one team. Free, like Jason said, waiver wire running backs who pop and become top 5 guys like Alvin Kamara did last night. That carries you, and I think usually it happens like halfway through a season. Guys like Nick Chubb, but James Conner was before Week 1 and has absolutely shaken things up.
I think that answer is the most likely to be accurate because of the fact of what you said. You could end up with, if you drafted a Gurley, well, hopefully not Bell, but if you drafted Gurley or Hunt or Kamara, Barkley, and then you got to pair him with Conner, that's just very, very powerful for winning a fantasy title.
Yes.
And now the pathway is perfectly clear for Conner to continue dominating.
Oh, hey, I had some jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. Look, if you want great football information, you're going to want to click that subscribe button, so do it now.